CFE Exam Prep Course PDF. Question 1. Which phase of a digital investigation involves ensuring the data is not altered? Preservation, collection, analysis, reporting. Preservation is the critical first step to protect digital evidence from being modified or destroyed. Question 2. The fraud triangle consists of opportunity, pressure, and rationalization. Greed, means, ignorance. Cressy's fraud triangle includes perceived unshareable financial need, pressure, perceived opportunity, and rationalization. Question 3. Which term describes the malicious alteration of computer data? Data diddling, data mining, encryption, hashing. Data diddling is the unauthorized alteration of data before or during its entry into a computer system. Question 4. A ghost employee scheme belongs to which fraud category? Payroll fraud, billing fraud, expense reimbursement fraud, skimming. Ghost employees are fictitious personnel added to the payroll to divert funds, categorizing it as payroll fraud. Question 5. To prove defamation, the statement must be published to a third party, true, an opinion, made under oath. Defamation requires a false statement of fact to be communicated, published, to a third party, causing harm. Question 6. Which law prohibits bribing foreign officials? FCPA, Sarbanes-Oxley, Bank Secrecy Act, Patriot Act. The Foreign Corrupt Practices Act, FCPA, prohibits U.S. entities from bribing foreign government officials. Question 7. A covert operation is generally used when other investigative methods have failed. The fraud is small. The suspect is already cooperating. It is the cheapest option. Undercover operations are risky and typically only used when standard investigative techniques are insufficient. Question 8. What is kiting? Concealing cash shortages using bank float, stealing inventory, falsifying timesheets, submitting duplicate invoices. Kiting involves taking advantage of the float time between banks to artificially inflate balances and cover shortages. Question 9. Lapping primarily affects which area of accounting? Accounts receivable, accounts payable, inventory, payroll. Lapping is the process of concealing a cash shortage by delaying the recording of cash receipts in accounts receivable. Question 10. Who holds the primary responsibility for the prevention of fraud? Management, internal auditors, external auditors, law enforcement. Management is ultimately responsible for designing and implementing controls to prevent and detect fraud. Question 11. What is the primary purpose of the Bank Secrecy Act, BSA? To prevent money laundering, to protect consumer privacy, to regulate mortgage rates, to ensure bank deposits. The BSA requires financial institutions to assist U.S. government agencies to detect and prevent money laundering. Question 12. In an interview, what type of questions should be asked first? Introductory/rapport building, admission seeking, hostile, complex. Interviews should begin with introductory, non-threatening questions to build rapport and establish a baseline. Question 13. What is the main purpose of internal controls? To prevent and detect errors and fraud, to maximize profit, to satisfy external auditors, to replace management supervision. Internal controls are processes designed to provide reasonable assurance regarding the achievement of objectives in operations, reporting, and compliance. Question 14. Which technique involves splitting transactions to avoid reporting requirements? Smurfing, lapping, kiting, phishing. smithing, or structuring, involves breaking large transactions into smaller ones to evade anti-money laundering reporting thresholds. Question 15. Which document provides an auditor with a trail of transactions? Audit trail, balance sheet, income statement, bank statement. An audit trail is a step-by-step record by which accounting data can be traced to its source. Question 16. What is the highest standard of proof? Beyond a reasonable doubt. Preponderance of the evidence. Clear and convincing evidence. Probable cause. In criminal trials, beyond a reasonable doubt is the highest standard of proof. Question 17. What is the primary element of fraud? Intent, negligence, opportunity, loss. Intent is the distinguishing factor between an error, mistake, and fraud. Question 18. Which of the following is a type of asset misappropriation? Skimming, financial statement manipulation, bribery, extortion. Skimming is the theft of cash from a victim entity prior to its entry in an accounting system. Question 19. A Ponzi scheme is primarily an example of investment fraud, embezzlement, cyber fraud, identity theft. A Ponzi scheme is an investment fraud that pays existing investors with funds collected from new investors. Question 20. A conflict of interest occurs when an employee has an undisclosed economic/personal interest in a transaction, an employee steals cash, a vendor overcharges, an auditor finds a mistake. Conflicts of interest involve an employee acting in ways that benefit themselves at the expense of their employer without disclosure.